All right, we are live. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Great to see you. Can't wait to be with you. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Anyways, good to see everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, we're looking forward to hopping in tonight. We're talking about bad debt. I said tonight. Anyways, bad debt advice that is found all over the internet. Have you ever gotten advice, Jen, and wondered if this was the advice that was good advice, bad advice? Someone just wants to have an opinion, so they tell you something, and you're not sure which way to go still.
Yep.
Yeah, that's happened to me a lot here. And funny thing about Google and the internet is, man, there's no lack of advice anywhere. You want to find how to do something, anything, you can go Google it, you'll find it. Google has become a verb, right? Those are the stocks I like to buy, verb stocks. Anyways, but yeah, you can Google anything. And so we did some research this week. We started Googling some get out of debt advice, and we found some pretty interesting things. And if you're like me and many years ago, maybe you followed some of this advice and maybe you found out it didn't end up where you want it to be. Maybe I found out that, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought. Or the person giving it to me had some, was able to benefit from the advice they gave me. Well, if that's the case for you, buckle up. We're going to have some fun today as we walk through this segment on bad debt advice. You ready to get started?
Let's go.
All right. So let me share my screen here, guys. So we scoured TikTok and some other areas for some bad debt advice. So here we go. Bad debt advice number 1. Ready for this, Jen?
I'm ready.
There we go.
Getting out of debt in 2022.
The quickest way to get out of debt in 2022 using the 70-20-10 method. The 70-10-20 method, what it basically means is 70% is what you live off, 20% goes towards your debts, and 10% goes towards investing or paying yourself. Many who have done this exact method realize that there was not very much of a difference between living 70% of their paycheck as opposed to being short on cash all the time. They were able to still manage because they were putting priorities first, which is the biggest thing that we need to do in order to get out of debt and create wealth for ourselves. So the next time that you get paid, let's take $1,000 for example. What you're gonna do is take $700, and that's what you're going to pretty much live off of. You're gonna live off the $700 towards your expenses, food, whatever you may need to cover until you get paid next time. 20% of that is going to go towards your debts. This is going to allow you to get out of debt faster. Instead of making a single $100 payment towards your debts a month, now you're going to be making $400 if you're getting paid bi-weekly. Lastly, which is the most important one, ask yourself, when was the last time that you truly paid yourself anything? Yes, we get paid, quote unquote, but are you really paying yourself, saying, hey, you know what? This week I'm putting $100 towards myself. This way I can buy something later on or invest it into something. So with 10% of what you get paid, you're gonna pay yourself right off the bat. If you get paid $1,000, then you're only gonna be saving $100. But even if you save $100 for the next 12 months, you're gonna be saving $1,200. And you gotta ask yourself, when was the last time that you
If you only get paid $1,000, you have a bigger problem than saving $100. Just gonna say that. Hold on.
paid yourself $1,200 to go buy something that you really wanted, or simply invest $1,200 into a new business or something that you wanted to do? My goal for 2022 is to help out as many people get out
All right. Oh, I should finish that, shouldn't I?
of debt and get higher credit scores. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure to give me a follow and stay tuned for more tips.
Getting out of
All right. His priority is to help people get out of debt and get higher credit scores. If you try to get out of debt, why do you need a higher credit score?
It's a bit counterintuitive there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to live debt free, you naturally you're not going to have a credit score, or your credit score is going to be based off of maybe your insurance or your utility bills. But anyways, so what did you think of that 70-20-10 method? 7% for life expenses. I forget what the 20 was, and then 10 for saving. I guess 20 would have been paying off debt. Okay, yeah. 20% to pay off debt, 10% for savings. What do you think? It's not advice we usually give people.
No, I like the idea of having percentages, like recommended percentages for certain things. I think the priorities were upside down,
Down.
right? Like we're all about paying yourself first, right? Have that emergency fund. It's not just a save up to buy a couch fund. Like it's protection, right?
Yeah.
Self-insurance, having something to live off of, and then yes, paying debt. So percentage, I'm okay with having percentages. Not sure I want his percentages, but also I would invert everything.
I think the problem is most people's debt is not 20% of their income.
Yeah.
Now he was given the example of making $1,000 every paycheck. So, $2,000 a month was really, I mean, if you're making $2,000 a month, you're living below poverty.
I think his
Scale it up
audience must
to-
have been 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, that's a good point. It might have been, but how many 18-year-olds are in that much debt? Anyways,
Hopefully not
wanna
that
know.
many.
I don't even want to know. If you're 18 and you're in debt, holy cow, you've been sold a bill of bad goods.
Mhm.
But when it comes to adult life, I think the problem is most people's debt. When I look at people's debt, a lot of people, 20% of their disposable income, 20, 25, 30, sometimes even 50% of disposable income is debt.
Mhm.
So if you're trying to live off 70, 20 and save 10, you're not going to, there's not enough to go around.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No.
It's kind of like the old advice, I feel like this is kind of like the old advice, like back in the 80s and 90s, the recommended advice for buying a home was you buy a home that's, I think they said, I can't remember if it was twice your yearly income. Buy a home that's twice your yearly income. I'm like, great advice. It doesn't work today.
No.
Who here makes $1 million a year or two, sorry. Yeah. $500,000 a year, I should say. Who here makes not many people do that. Most homes these days are over $500,000. If you live in the GTA, you're $1 million easy.
Mhm.
Right. So who's making $250,000 to $500,000? Not many people.
Yeah.
So it's like that old adage, that old advice that worked many, many years ago, probably, but today it doesn't work at all. I like the 70-20-10 method for when you're debt free. Live off 70 instead of putting 20 towards debt. You're doing maybe 20 towards life experiences, savings, and I would take that 20 and 10 and mix that up a little bit more there. You're giving 10, saving 15 to 20, living off 70.
Mhm.
Once you're debt free. Now you didn't talk about any giving in there either.
No.
But yeah, that's the idea. If you can live debt free, that's when that formula could work. But even then, with inflation, things going the way they are going, I find that formula would probably break for most people and wouldn't be exactly that formula. But 70-20-10, it doesn't work when you're in debt. I think the process needs to be here that when you are in debt, outside of, we obviously tell people, hey, coach, get some money put aside. First thing we're going to do is the idea is focus, I think.
Mhm.
The problem with this method here is there's a bit of focus, but there's not complete focus. We're doing a couple of different things. We're trying to save, pay off debt, live, vacations. Or, when we talk to people, it's like, hey, get laser focus on one thing.
Mhm.
If your goal is to save, we're laser focused on saving. Because what happens is when you spread it out too much, you spread yourself out too thin and nothing fully gets accomplished.
Yeah, you can't accomplish big things when you're $20ing yourself to death in 20 different areas.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the idea there, guys. The idea, don't 70-20-10 this. If you're in debt, focus. All your money goes to that. In my opinion, all your money should go to that one thing. Obviously, you got the cash flow plan you're doing here that has priorities set up in there. That's your living side. But if you're in debt here, work like heck to get out.
Yes.
Especially that consumer debt, those credit cards and all that stuff. Put your head down and make it happen so that you can be out here. And our goal, I think doing this method here, you're in debt for a while. If you're only putting 20% towards debt, you're probably in debt for 5-10 years, provided nothing else happens.
Yeah. And if he is speaking to students and that's his audience, student loans, they can be big.
They are crippling.
Yes.
So yeah, the 70-20-10 I think works well for those who are debt free, but not necessarily for those who are in debt. All right, let's talk about the next one here. You ready for this? I love this one here. Let's do this one. Ready?
Oh man.
Debt relief. This is a good one. All right, ready, Jen?
Yeah.
There's only 2 ways out of debt. Here we go.
How to get debt relief in Canada? So basically, you have two options. Number one is a consumer proposal. Number two is a bankruptcy. In bankruptcy, you tell the lenders take all
All
my
right, I think that's it. Right, that's all I got to play right there. He just goes on to explain what a bankruptcy is. All right, so 2 ways to get out of debt if you Canada or America. 2 ways to get out of debt, Jen: bankruptcy or consumer proposal. Which one do you want to choose?
Right? Which bottle of poison do you want to drink?
Yeah.
This one or this one?
Neither.
Yeah.
Neither. So 2 ways to get out of debt: bankruptcy or consumer proposal. The problem with these methods, guys, straight up, the problem with these methods is they don't address the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
The real problem being your habits, your behaviors, your limiting beliefs, your mindset is part of that, and what I call the self-sabotaging emotions. If you're stressed out, if you're overwhelmed, if you feel anxious, any of that stuff, you're not making great decisions.
Yeah.
For most people, they've just got bad habits and behavior. So what happens is you do a bankruptcy, and first time you do a bankruptcy, it's on your record for 7 years, which is why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go 7 years in this? Consumer proposal, it's 3 years after you pay off all the debt. So for most people, that's still 7-8 years, right? They try and make it sound all nice and cool by saying it's only 3 years after you pay off all your debt. If you get debt free, you get another 3 years to get it completely out. So, anyways, that's the way it works. The problem with those methods is none of them teach you how to overcome your bad habits and behaviors.
Yeah.
It's like a magician.
Yeah.
Poof. Right? The problem is you haven't changed anything. You haven't changed this. And so we find people, Jen, all the time. Right now, statistically speaking, about 9 out of 10, 88% of people fall back. Usually within 2 to 3 years, they're back in the same spot.
Which is crazy.
That's insane.
That's a huge percentage. That's a lot of people.
And then if you do it again, it's not 7 years now. I can't remember the exact number. I can't remember if it was 14 years, but it's even longer than 7 years. The second time you do this.
Yeah.
And so part of the thing here is solving the real problem is looking in the mirror and saying, okay, what's the thing? What's wrong in this situation? And it's probably owning the situation first.
Yeah.
Owning that I'm the problem. The good news is I can fix the problem.
Yeah.
Because I can fix me.
Yes.
Right. And until we own that, I don't think we ever fully fix the problem. Yeah, sure. You might mask the symptom for a couple of months, just like taking aspirin when you have a headache. You're masking the symptom. You're not really solving the problem. Or maybe even a couple of years. But over time, we always, and we're teaching this right now in our community, in our coaching class, we always follow. It's like that thermometer. You got to set to, 75 degrees. And as soon as it hits 75, the AC goes on and brings the house back down. Right? That's the same thing with your finances. You got this internal thermometer of what you've accepted as normal. And what happens is it always tries to bring us back down to what we're comfortable with. And so until that thermostat changes, so to speak, until you change that internal thermostat, you'll always get pulled back. It's why you see people make millions of dollars and lose it all. Or you'll see people who are millionaires who lose it all and gain it back. It's because that internal thermostat is set to a certain temperature and always kind of pulls us back to that comfort zone.
Definitely. Definitely. And it's possible to change that thermostat.
Yeah.
It's that little button.
Yeah.
Right? Like just make it go up.
Yeah. And part of changing that thermostat is really understanding the underlying reasons for why you are where you are.
Yeah.
For most people, it's not more money. For some, sure, it might be more money. If you're making like that other guy's $2,000 a month, you need to make more money.
Yeah. Money is legitimately a big part of the problem there.
That's a big part of the problem. But for those of you who are $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month, I'm telling you, more money ain't solving the problem for you until you fix the real problem.
Yes.
And then once you fix the real problem, more money, sprinkle more money on the situation, and you'll find you will, it's like putting lightning. It's like putting gas on a fire. You're gonna
Yes.
exponentially make that, solve that problem faster. But until you solve the real issue, bankruptcies, consolidation loans, 0% credit cards, remortgaging debt into your house, what we're about to talk about in a couple of secs here, none of that. It just, it's just a band-aid, and it pulls you back in
Yeah.
over time. All right, here's another one, and this guy, he had some good things to say, but let's examine here. There's a couple things I think that might be wrong in his situation. You ready for this? Let's go. Thank you, TikTok, for all the bad advice. Here we go.
The 2 quickest ways to pay off debt fast. 1. Target your highest interest debt first. Pay off minimum monthly amounts on your lowest interest debt and focus most of your debt repayment on your highest interest debt. This is important because debt compounds. The higher the interest, the higher the compounding. So pay the highest debt off first and most. And then number 2, go and get a side hustle. Go and start a business to earn that extra income, to double team down on that debt. Get rid of that debt and then never spend more than you earn, ever. The 2 quickest.
All right. I didn't mind the second thing you said, start a side hustle. That's cool. That's cool to help you pay down debt. That's not the only thing that's going to, I think a lot of people, I get a lot of people ask me, how do your clients do it? Are they just doing a side hustle? Most aren't. Some are. Some go and find some extra money, but most don't. And so the idea that you're going to find a side hustle and fix the problem, it's iffy. Again, the last thing we talked about, until you fix the real problem, whatever you do on the external side ain't going to work long term. But anyways, what do you think about paying the highest interest first?
Mathematically, maybe.
Yeah.
But again, the mindset, it's going to feel really defeating if your highest interest rate thing is like $20,000 and you got 4 little things at like $800. You're just going to sit there forever.
Yeah.
So he's talking the avalanche, I think.
Yeah, he's talking the avalanche method. And mathematically, I think he might be right. That might be the fastest way. Like if you were just to sit down and mathematically do the numbers. I think the problem is we are not robots.
Yeah. You're
We
gonna
are
lose steam.
emotional beings.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt down? You ever felt like you're on top of the world? That's called emotions. And every day our emotions are up and down based off of our circumstances. That's why sunny days, some of us feel better than on rainy days. Right?
Yeah.
I think the problem is until you become a robot, the avalanche method won't fully work for you because it doesn't take into account the emotional side of things.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a study done on this. I think Harvard University did a study many years ago on the avalanche versus the snowball method, which is a lot of what we teach people to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they have found that even though the avalanche method, mathematically, they should have had their debt paid off faster. Everyone that did the snowball method actually paid off their debt faster.
Interesting.
Oh, right. The way
Not
that it
surprised.
seemed the fastest was the way that became the fastest. And here's what they found is every time someone paid off a debt emotionally, within their psyche, it was like a win.
Yes.
And it was momentum building. And it created momentum in their lives. So it got them excited. It got them in the mind frame of going after the next one.
Yeah.
And okay, I just did that. That's awesome. What else can I find here to pay off the next one? And then to pay off. What happens is they create this momentum in their life, like a snowball going down a hill that got bigger and bigger and bigger. And they were the ones that were able to pay off debt a lot faster.
Yeah.
So he may be mathematically right, but something tells me he doesn't understand psychology. And when it comes to getting out of debt, winning with money, even investing, it really comes down to your psychology, individuality, the individual psychology of each and every person. Here's a great example, guys. The stock market's dropped 25%. How many people are freaking out? A lot of people are. A lot of people are. It's all over the news. We're headed for another recession. How many people are freaking out? A lot of people are. I'm not. I'm not. I'm just raising my hand to encourage everyone, to raise their hand, although we won't even see it. But it's true. A lot of people forget why. Because we are emotional beings. We make a lot of emotional decisions. And when the news, the whole goal of news is to freak us out. And let's be honest, if they can get people to view eyeballs on their news coverage, they make more money. Those of us who understand the market, our psychology is different. Hey, this is a great opportunity to buy. This is a great opportunity to get in. Great time to get in here. Those who don't understand it are freaking out. I can't trust the market. Oh my gosh, I can't trust these dips. 25% loss. Oh man, markets aren't safe. Well, they actually are long term if you understand how they work. But it's the same idea when it comes to getting out of debt. We're emotional.
Yeah.
It's why I know I shouldn't eat Big Macs, but I do, and it usually happens when I'm tired late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It never happens in the morning when my willpower is strong and I'm feeling good. It's always I'm tired, rough,
Rough day.
I don't eat Big Macs that much. I'm just giving you the example.
Yeah.
Why we do things that we know we shouldn't do a lot of times. And it's the same idea with getting out of debt and managing your money is mathematically, there's certain things that make sense. What I have found is the mathematics is 20% of the problem. If you can't fix the other 80%, the 20% doesn't get fixed.
Yeah.
80% being your habits, behaviors, limiting beliefs, self-sabotaging emotions that cause us to really make those decisions.
Yeah.
So anyways, bad debt advice that doesn't work for like 99% of people. What do you got, Jen? What else are we doing here?
All right.
I know you found some good juicy stuff on the internet.
I did. And I just had to laugh the more I went through this website just to keep myself from crying, because people will believe this stuff as like the home equity line of credit being like your friend, being,
Yes.
an easy way to access your money, and these companies, they're helping you by giving you these home equity loans. And this one site went through like 10 different ways that you could use the money. Some of them seem quite ridiculous. And well, let's just go through it and I might have some snarky comebacks. So
all right, let's go.
All right. So number one, you could get a home equity line of credit to consolidate your debt.
All right.
Again, right?
Let's take all into one.
Oh gosh, let's take all these unsecured things and put them into your secured asset. Let's take out all the money that you've paid out or paid into your mortgage. And no, we're not doing that. All right, number two, home renovation.
Okay. We see a lot of people do that.
We do. The point is, though, is that you don't actually have the money for the renovation if you're having to borrow it from your house.
Ooh. I saw my friend's dad. I remember him talking to us once. This is before the last 10 years where we've seen real estate just boom out of control. He said, because he's bought and sold houses all through the 70s and 80s, and all that 90s. And anyways, he said up until recently, and this would have been just before the big peak, the big boom we've had on our housing market, he says, anytime I've done renovations in my house, I've never made the money back. Right. Like because we didn't have these homes that grew by $100,000 in equity a year.
Yes.
They were growing by 5,000.
Yeah.
Well, you do a $20,000 renovation, you got, if you're growing $5,000 a year, it's taking 4 years to recover that.
Yes.
Right. And so we're in this unique time, and I think it's about to end, where we would buy a house and you could just sit on it for 2 years and it was worth double what you paid for it 2 to 3 years later.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see that anymore. And so people would take bigger risks and say, yeah, I'll do a $50,000 renovation because I know this house will be worth $200,000 in about 18 months.
Yeah.
I think that's about to change.
Yeah.
If it already hasn't started changing.
Yeah. Because we can already see it coming down.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are buying these houses, doing these big renovations, and they might find themselves upside down on the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you go to move, guess what? The equity, it's not there. Right. So you actually have less to work with.
Yeah.
So I don't like that one. Neither do I like this next one. Using it as business capital.
Ooh.
Yeah. Starting a
You know what
venture.
debt does? Go for it. Read what you were going to say there. Starting a venture.
That may succeed is best done with dollars that you've earned.
That's not advice they're telling you there. That's you giving your advice.
That's my snarky comeback.
I love that you say may succeed. Starting a business that may, caution, may.
Right?
Succeed.
This was your big red flag or the bright lights going, wah, wah, warning. Yeah.
And here's the funny idea is we all have these bright ideas, these ideas that can't fail. And if I told you how many bright ideas I've had in this business that have worked, there have been very few. When I first started them, oh my gosh, this is the best idea since sliced bread. And I get into it 3 months, I'm like, this is not the best. And people don't like this. This idea ain't working.
Yeah. And
I'm so thankful I've never gone into debt on my ideas. Because what debt does, debt magnifies mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're using debt for marketing, all that stuff, good marketing will just make a bad product fail faster.
Mm.
And so 100%, if you're starting out in business, cash flow that thing.
Yes.
Like put the sweat equity in first, because the sweat equity is going to prove if this is a good idea and the marketplace wants to respond to it, or if this is a bad idea. And if it's a bad idea and you've borrowed a bunch of money, not only now are you not making any money, now you got to pay back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah. Do not borrow money to start a business.
Nope, definitely not. And don't use your home equity for a vacation. Legit, that was on the website.
Jen, I'm just, you know what? Life's just so hard and the gas prices are just so high. And
You just escape reality.
The price of a fruit's gone up 5 cents. I just need to escape reality and do an all-inclusive so that I can get away from paying high gas prices.
Yep. So take it out of the equity of your home. Bad idea.
Bad idea.
Bad. Oh,
Yeah.
I know someone who did this one. Use it for education. Take equity from your home to fund your kids' education. No.
I've heard a few people doing that as well.
Don't do it.
Why not though? An education guarantees I'm going to get the best job in the world, making the most amount of money.
Said no smart person ever.
That's right. In fact, statistically speaking, I think right now, last I checked this was a couple of years ago, but I'm pretty sure we're still on par with this. Like 75% of college students would drop out, or they would not graduate on a 4-year degree. Only 25% would graduate.
Yeah.
Out of the 25% that graduate, like I forget the numbers, like half of them found jobs that they went to school for. The other half ended up working at Starbucks.
Yeah.
We call them baristas, aka if you look that up in the dictionary, it stands for educated. It stands for educated minimum wage employee. Overeducated, underpaid.
Yes. So don't do that.
Yeah, this day, there was once upon a time where going to school definitely gave you that competitive advantage.
Yes.
It's called my parents' generation. This day and age, I don't see that same competitive advantage. I mean, obviously, if you want to be a doctor, there's certain things if you want to become, you better be going to school. But I see a lot of people that go to school for liberal arts degree. They'll get onto the real world and it's not pliable.
Yeah.
It's useless. Like you can't use it anywhere other than saying I went to school for 4 years, spent a bunch of money and got nothing out of it. To me, that screams stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hire stupid. So if I saw that, I would never, I wouldn't hire that.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that gives you a competitive advantage. But I remember I was doing research once in Australia. You could go to school for 2 years to get a surf degree.
Surf degree.
Yeah. It's a 2-year program. Part of the program was you got surf time on the ocean there. You learned how to make surfboards. They did teach a bit about marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw how advanced that marketing was. I don't know. But yeah, I was like, holy cow. Talk about a useless degree.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do not cash flow out of your house for your kids' college funds.
No.
Make them go and work for it. Hustle like I did. I hustled my way through school, worked weekends to pay for my school. Granted, private school was a little bit cheaper back then. However, that's how I did it.
Yes.
You know, made it happen that way. And there's so many grants. There's so many things available for your kids to cash flow school. I remember I was coaching a teacher once, a university teacher, and she said to me, Mike, if people just came to the financial office and asked for money, we would give it to them. We have so much money to give away.
Yeah.
No one's coming in asking for it.
Yeah.
Instead, they're asking OSAP to pay back these huge loans.
Yeah.
We're giving free money away. So there's so many ways to cash flow school.
Definitely. Definitely. All right, let's look down to how about a great way for retired individuals on a fixed income to access more of their money?
Oh, geez.
Mm,
It's a way to lose your home, I'll tell you that.
right?
Yeah, retired
And-
individuals on fixed incomes. I know so many mortgage people that push this.
I don't get it
And they
because they're
paint it-
never going to need care.
Yeah, well, exactly, right? It's like they're never going to go into a home or need someone to help. Yeah, as they get older, right? Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't always think about that. Mortgage agents make a lot of money off of pushing this stuff on you guys, and yeah, it does. Like there's a problem you have to solve, or we're going to go back to doing that again
Mhm.
and again and
Yeah.
again until you get to the point. And I've seen this happen where there's no equity in the house, and when you sell, you're just paying off all the debt.
Mhm. Yep. I know a couple that did that.
Yeah.
For education, for stuff, for vacations. I don't know all the things they did with their equity, but when the marriage failed and the house was sold, there was no money. And the house had like doubled or tripled in value. From when they bought it, there was nothing left. It was a sad day.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do one more.
All right, what do you got?
To pay off tax debt, your income tax bill. Okay, now taxes are no joke, right? Like owing taxes doesn't feel good for anybody.
No.
But to fuel somebody's fear, like when I read that, I'm like, wow, this is like pouring gas on the fire of fear. Right? So taking out a home equity loan to pay taxes, that's not the best solution.
Yeah.
Not the best solution.
I'd rather you work out a payment plan with the government, which most governments will do, to pay that back.
Exactly.
Do not. It's a bad idea to take unsecured debt and tie it up with secured debt.
Yeah.
Secured debt being your house, because what happens is if you ever fall ill, if life ever happens, you can't make that payment. The problem is now they're coming after the secured debt, the home.
Mm-hmm.
Or anything that's unsecured, they can't come after anything.
Yeah. So have a payment plan and figure out where there's a break in the problem so that next year that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, exactly. Start to solve that problem today so you don't have this problem next year.
Exactly.
The year after.
Exactly.
But
So-
a lot of, that's a problem for a lot of businesses, I find, as they owe taxes. W-2 employees, T4 employees in Canada, not sometimes it's a problem for them too, but not as often. This is more of a sole proprietor,
Mhm.
LLC, incorporated, business problem,
Yeah.
which means you're not managing that money as well as you could be or have to be. That's why number one reason why businesses fail.
Yeah.
Not enough revenue, aka they can't provide services well enough. 2, taxes.
Yeah.
Taxes pull them out.
Definitely.
So guys, if you are looking at any of these methods here, they don't work. 88%, 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 times you went to a restaurant, the restaurant sucked. Would you go back?
No.
You don't think so? You want to try it one more time just because you never know?
If I made it 9 times and only one of them was good, it's bad. I gave them enough chances already. I gave my children less chances to get to bed.
Yeah, exactly. They get 3 chances. But yeah, it's the idea, right? 9 out of 10 people are failing at this, don't do it.
Yeah.
Stop going into the stuff thinking you're going to outbeat the system, outbeat the banks. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That's why they got the biggest buildings in the neighborhood, because they know exactly what they're doing here. All right, guys. So if one of these methods is what you're thinking of doing here, just stop, breathe, push pause, rethink, reevaluate, and work the plan that actually works.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, 99% success rate is the plan that we teach that actually works. Which brings me to the next question. I want to coach someone up here. I had someone in the community ask, actually, I've had a few people in the community ask this. How are our clients doing it? Because they're coming on and they're what they got, but they're not always sharing how they're doing it. So I know I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Yeah.
But how are our clients doing it? What's the process 99.99% of the time that's working?
Yes. So really, it seems so basic, but getting on that cash flow plan, right? Tracking your income, your expenses, and then being in control of it for the month. It's not like a one and done set it. It's like living in that document and letting it help dictate where the dollars are going. That's how a lot of our clients are plugging the leaks. They're seeing, dang, I spend a lot on snacks, or, oh my gosh, I hit the grocery store 20 times this month. That's ridiculous.
Or oh, damn, Netflix has charged me 4 times this month.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't catch that for a while. They've been doing that for 2 years. Damn, I got to fix that problem.
Yeah. Right. So all of there's a lot of things that become very clear when you do a cash flow plan. So a lot of our clients are finding, $250, $500 a month extra just in the leaks.
Just in the leaks, yeah.
And of course that's an average. Like you mentioned, some people do take on that extra work. Some of them do need to bring up that bottom line of income. Some people are just that focused and that determined that for a season, they're willing to sacrifice some of their free time in order to bring in the extra to get the debt gone sooner. So, but I would say that that's maybe like the third or fourth thing on most people's list. A lot of it is the cash flow plan, and then really getting focused on those priorities, establishing that emergency fund first, right? When you have an emergency fund, you don't have a need for the emergency credit card anymore, right? Because that just keeps the cycle going. So, and then getting focused with the snowball. That's a big thing too.
I love it. Yeah, on that snowball. That's how they're doing it. And then obviously they're working on their mindsets.
Yes.
Their limiting beliefs. They're letting us challenge them in ways they haven't been challenged before.
Yes.
As my coach said the other night, said to me, she said, Mike, and this was fitness she was talking about, but this relays in many other areas. She said, when you think you're doing the right thing, it's probably the wrong thing. When you think you're doing the wrong way or it's hard, you're probably doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same idea with your finances. If it's counterintuitive, you're probably doing the right thing. Yeah. If it's mainstream and everyone is talking about, you're probably doing the wrong thing. Because here's what I know to be true. Google has proven 2 things. Number 1, there's a lot of bad advice out there. Number 2, that Google more information doesn't solve the real problem. And so if you're looking to solve the real problem and you're still Googling how to do a budget, or if you're still buying the next budgeting course or whatever, or podcasting or YouTubing to try and get out of this, you're taking the slow and painful road to making it happen. All right. And so if you're at that point where you're like, damn, I've Googled 100 times how to do a budget, I still ain't doing a budget. Or if you're falling back into debt, or if you've paid off a little bit and fallen back, or you're just stagnant, you need to hop on a 15-minute call with us. There's nothing to sell on the call. Okay, we're not going to sell you to work with us, but we're going to take a look at what the real problem is, what's really going on here. Because it isn't that you don't know how to do a budget. That's not the real problem, right? There's something else going on here. And so we're going to take a look at the real problem, see what's going on, see what's working, what's not working. And if we could really help walk you through the process of what we do, how we do it, and why so many clients come into our groups and say, we just paid off we're going to talk about that soon. We just paid off $21,000. We just paid off $10,000. We just paid off the credit card. First time in 30 years, we haven't had to use a credit card. Oh my gosh. And again, so many people, first times in X amount of years, they're debt free, or they've paid off the credit cards, or they've done X. It's not by accident.
Yeah.
There's a streamlined process that we've tapped into that really works, that I've used, that Jen's used, that Coach Neil's used to get debt free, stay debt free, and start to live these lives that we really desire and really have here. So if you're ready to do that, moneycoachmike.com/15 or /call, I should say, moneycoachmike.com /call. as where you can hop on a calendar, coaching call with us, with myself or Coach Neil, take a look at what's working here, see how we can get you moving forward in the right direction and give you the guidance. All right,
Awesome.
guys, we love you. Stop Googling bad financial advice. Stop Googling bad financial advice. If you want to win, it's always with a coach. Any area that I've had success with, I've always had a coach helping me get to that success. So hop on here, get in our community, get coached up. We love you guys. We'll